Hey, guess what? In addition to his offensive attacks on freedom of association during his unconstitutional COVID lockdowns in Minnesota, in addition to his offensive adulation for censorship of speech that he doesn't like, and added to his extant padding of his military record, charming Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is being cited for more apparent deceit about his own life. Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and here's the story. Eliana Johnson reports for the Washington Free Beacon that the deceit of Mr. Walz seems to go as deep as his boast that the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce called him an, get this, outstanding young Nebraskan. Yes, all the way over to his claim that he and his wife had children through in vitro fertilization, IVF. Now, on the self-promotion of his time in Nebraska, she writes this, quote, Walz's 2006 boast about being named Outstanding Young Nebraskan can still be found in an archived version of his campaign website. That November, the president of the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, Barry Kennedy, wrote Walz to object. It has come to my attention that as part of your campaign for U.S. Congress, you have posted your biography on your website that claims you received an award from the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce for your service to the business community, he stated plainly. We researched this matter and can confirm that you have not been the recipient of any award from the Nebraska Chamber of Commerce, end quote. Well, clearly that is speech from Mr. Kennedy that should be censored. Ms. Johnson also notes that Mr. Kennedy asked that Walz eliminate the reference from his website and that Mr. Kennedy said that the chamber had endorsed Walz's opponent, Gil Gutenecht, the Republican incumbent. And what was the public response from Walz's congressional campaign? Quote, Walz's campaign manager at the time said he'd in fact won an award from the Junior Chamber of Commerce, according to a report from Minnesota's Alpha News, and attributed the mistake to a typographical error. The Harris-Walz campaign did not respond to a request for comment, but Gutenecht, who lost to Walz that year, did speak to the Washington Free Beacon. It fits a pattern of misleading and fabricated statements he has made throughout his political and personal life, he recalled. All political figures are guilty of a bit of puffery. He frequently went well beyond that into prevarication. End quote. Yet it's Walz who gets on the proverbial high horse and endorses government censorship to stop what he calls misinformation.
There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation.
Well, Johnson has uncovered more, and it gets even more disturbing. Not only does the censorious Walz appear willing to lie about his military record, even as he receives little pushback for trampling the Bill of Rights via his lockdowns and calls for gun grabs, he appears to have lied about the conception of his own children.
Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have two beautiful children.
Quote, in the midst of the Democratic convention, it emerged that Walz had lied about his own children. The governor has made his family's fertility struggles a central part of the narrative as he introduces himself to the country. Thank God for IVF. My wife and I have two beautiful children, he told MSNBC in July. But his kids were not actually conceived via in vitro fertilization. Rather, they were conceived through a far less costly, less invasive, and non-controversial procedure known as intrauterine insemination, which does not involve the cultivation and potential destruction of embryos. End quote. But of course, one can readily recognize two characteristics from that statement. First, it's a statement that is slightly ambiguous, not offering a direct cause and effect relationship between IVF and his children. But of course, what he does is imply it. He thanks God for IVF, allowing the reader or the viewer to think that it is a procedure that actually led to his offspring. But it also allows him an out to say that he never directly claimed IVF gave him and his wife their two beautiful children. And then there's the thanking of God part. Thanking of God for IVF in the first place. Well, since IVF creates so-called spare embryos that are human beings but become trapped in stasis, frozen, not implanted in the mother, and not allowed to live, one wonders how Walz could muster the gall to cite the Lord as he praises the procedure. Obviously, Walz brings in IVF because in many cases it is a parallel to abortion. So I think we get it, Mr. Walz. You don't care about the lives of unborn human beings. You seem to care much more about pandering to the abortion industry. And Johnson has uncovered even more of Walz's evident flip and foolish, devilish deceit. She notes that in a 2006 biographical piece, Walz cited a year-long stint teaching in China, and he implied that the opportunity came to him directly from the Harvard University brass. But of course, that was not the case. Quote, Harvard University offered Walz an opportunity to gain a new perspective on global education by teaching in the People's Republic of China, the biography claims. His congressional biography, published after Walz had won his seat, said the same thing. Indeed, a 2018 version indicated that Walz taught in China through a program at Harvard University. The program in question is the World Teach Program, a nonprofit founded by Harvard undergraduates, including the Nobel Prize-winning economist Michael Kremer, founded in 1986. For a time, the program was funded by Harvard's Philip Brooks House Association, which the Harvard Crimson has characterized as a student-run community service group that disperses resources to an array of nonprofit organizations and facilitates volunteerism for Harvard students. World Tech, which is currently dormant, does not appear to have been an official program of Harvard, end quote. And Johnson also notes, quote, Walz, who is casting himself as a homespun Midwesterner and mocks Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance for attending Yale Law School, now omits any mention of Harvard from his biography, end quote. And that's not the end. Johnson observes another apparent inflation. Quote, also gone from Walz's biography is a reference to another award he touted when he launched his congressional bid. In 1989, he said the year he graduated from college, he earned the title of Nebraska Citizen Soldier of the Year. That is a significant exaggeration that makes it sound like Walz was the sole recipient of an award. In reality, Walz was one of 52 reservists in 1989 who were invited to a brunch in Omaha for the 31st Annual Citizen Soldiers Award, put on by the Escarbin Foundation, a local nonprofit that at the time owned a racetrack and funded community events through horse betting. A newspaper article on the event said the 52 reservists at the brunch were honored for military reserve service. The newspaper announcement was followed by an item that said Barney Califf of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, was the sole winner of a duck calling contest, end quote. Well, perhaps Walz would like to censor duck calling as well. Who can tell the next tyrannical plans that Walz will push? And of course, who can tell about the lies he will promulgate? The Walz dance on truth and liberty is by no means over. One might be flabbergasted to think about all the prevarications and deceptions he's already spouted, but he's got lots of time left to be in the media spotlight and involved with the political machine. And he seems to care about truth as little as he cares about respecting our rights. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on Rumble, where they don't censor us. And of course, you can still find MRC-TV at YouTube, where, yes, they are censorious. You can find us all the time at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org. Visit us, say hi to the team, check out the articles and the video segments that are always popping up there. And of course, visit the MRC-TV store and consider donating to the Media Research Center. That's greatly appreciated. You can always find us in Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, and of course, on Twitter/X. Check us out there and recycle those posts. Get them out there to other folks as often as you can. If you want to follow me on Gab, I'm at Gardner Goldsmith on Gab, and on X, I'm at Gard Goldsmith. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please share the videos for MRC TV. I'm Gardner Goldsmith.